Welcome back to another video. Today we've got a ton of animals to feed. Snakes and lizards and roaches. Everything that I have here at the house has to eat. We got a snowstorm coming. Let's go. I got rats and mice and chicks thawed out, as you guys can see. Some jumbo rats for the boas. Some chicks for a couple of our snakes are gonna eat chicks today, and so is the Asian water monitor. What else we have? A couple pinkies for the king snake. We have a clam in here for the Cayman lizard. So I'll show you guys feeding everything, and then we have food for our vegetable eaters, which is a bunch of greens here. So everything's got to get fed today. Before we start feeding everything, I'm gonna start with making the hide for the new rhino iguana that we have. We got this big tote, and this is gonna be his hide box, but this is my first order of business before I even start feeding anything, because I need him to be comfortable. He just sleeps kind of in the corner somewhere, so I think he needs a hide, and so does the Black Dragon Asian water monitor, so I have two totes here. I was gonna use my jigsaw on this, but I figured I'd just use a handsaw because I don't wanna break it, but I don't know if this is gonna work. All right, so the hide is finished. Of course, it's temporary, but I burn the edges so like they're rounded. I kind of just take the lighter and go over the edges, and the plastic melts and it gets rounded, so there's no like sharp edges anymore from the saw. And then it'll be good for him to go in. He won't scrape himself or anything, but this will be a good addition to the enclosure that he's actually gonna enjoy and use. Though I think he's been enjoying having vertical space to climb. That height is going to be good for him to be able to sleep at night. He'll be comfortable. Before anything else, we've got to meet Tank like we did last video. This is our rhino iguana. He's going to be one of the first ones to eat today. He's just hanging out over here on the couch. He likes to just hang out. Oh, come on. But Tank is going to be the first one to eat. He just eats greens and some veggies. You can see our hide box. Look at that. What about if I feed you on top of it, huh? So I've got a new bowl. We're gonna do some turnip greens. So I'm just gonna break up the greens a little bit here. Doesn't really need to be super small pieces because he's a big lizard, so I just kind of rip it up into bite-sized pieces. And then sprinkle some calcium on top. This is calcium and vitamins. And then we'll do some Missouri tortoise chow. Sometimes I'll give this to him soaked. Other times he'll just eat it like that. But that's it. Oh, come, buddy. This is for the most part, this is like the lizard room or the bigger animal room. Most of the snakes and stuff that we have are upstairs. Down here, as you guys know, is the Asian water monitors, big enclosure down there. We've got Tank's enclosure here. We've got our turtle pond, who's gonna eat next. Tegu's and brumation here. Our southern white-lipped python is here. That's gonna eat today as well. And over here is the Uromastyx, the Lewisite hybrid iguana, and our Cayman lizard. And the king snake is over on that side. But while we're on the iguana topic, let's jump over to this side where our Lewisite hybrid is gonna eat. He eats the same diet. We'll just do greens for him today. These are collard greens. Not everybody eats the same thing every day, all day at once. I like to switch it up, just whatever I'm feeling that day. But it's just food. It's just food. And as you guys can tell, this guy's still super shy and skittish, so I just leave his food in there just to have positive interactions and gain trust with him, because he does not want anything to do with me, which is understandable. At that size, they're 100% prey animals to birds and other large lizards, so I completely understand it. A lot of times they settle down to be really good pets, so I'm not worried about him not liking me at all. Now up here is our Egyptian Uromastyx, who probably won't eat until the sun goes down. For the most part, I found that this guy only really wants to eat at night and early in the morning for who knows what reason. That's just the way he is, but he's gonna have collard greens as well. These are collard greens. He's also gonna have bee pollen. This is all the Uromastyx stuff. So these guys they eat nuts and seeds. They'll also eat bee pollen and vegetables. So we like to sprinkle bee pollen on top of his food. He likes it. It makes him more interested. He already has a bowl full of all these seeds. So he has flax seeds and chia seeds and lentils and split peas all in a bowl. And there, I'll show you guys once we get back over there. But he's gonna get a bowl of these turnip greens and collard greens. A lot of times he lets his food go bad because he's a desert species, so it gets very hot. This food doesn't last long, but the food that lasts long in there is the cactus when he has that on certain days and things like that. So for now, just give him a very small bit of greens, bee pollen. And he always has peas and seeds in there to eat. That's what we keep in this bowl, besides the sand that he kicks in there. But as you guys can tell, it's a bunch of seeds and lentils, and I can't clean out his sand every day. It's calcium sand, so if he eats it, it's not bad for him to ingest it. I'll show you guys him. Even though he's sleeping, I'll wake him up. You guys have seen everything else. This is our Egyptian Uromastyx. His name is Pharaoh. This is the largest species of Uromastyx in the world. And this is a pretty young one. This guy, he'll get the full size of my arm, head to tail, once he's bigger. And this is a male, so they're a lot bigger than the females. His head's gonna get a lot bigger. But these guys are like dinosaurs. Definitely one of my favorite underrated species of lizard. They don't really do much, similar to a bearded dragon, but just the look and the prehistoricness of this guy, this defensive tail that they'll use once they burrow. This will cover the front of their burrow and act as an armor plate. And this thing is gonna stop anything from trying to get in there. Definitely one of my favorite lizards. Like I said, he doesn't do much. He'll literally just sit here all day. He's either sleeping or basking or eating. He's not really running around or anything, chasing his food. These guys are very low energy, chill. Yeah, all day. That's what he's gonna sit there and do. So yeah, Tank's getting, acclimated with his new enclosure still. So he hasn't really been crazy to just eat his food right away, but he's still exploring, trying to figure it out, and that's a new addition. So he'll eat whenever he feels like it. One of the next animals that I'm gonna feed is my all-time lifer dream, one of my dream species of animals to keep, and that is the Cayman lizard from South America. They are Amazon rainforest semi-aquatic species of lizard with a orange head and a green body. But right now I'm just cutting up some snail for him to eat, and they're primarily snail eaters, so he's gonna have some snail mixed with some Friskies, whitefish, cat food. And in captivity, this is a pretty standard diet for them. And he's growing very nicely. I mean, we've had him for 2 months. He's growing consistently, and this is a species that is not very easy to, get to juvenile or adult stage, just because they're easily stressed. A lot of times they won't eat, but I've gotten this guy pretty comfortable in terms of, you know, in terms of health. He's at a good place. But let's take a look at him. I'm gonna briefly grab him for you guys because he's not the nicest. They don't typically like to get held, but this is the Cayman lizard. Oh man, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. I'm holding him very softly, just not allowing him to take a bite out of my head. Like I said, guys, these guys are eating snails, so this jaw pressure is no joke. Definitely don't want to get bit by that little guy. But still, I mean, nonetheless, this species is gonna get 4 or 5 feet long. Like, they're gonna get massive, I mean, huge head. I mean, if anything, I'd say comparable to like a pit bull of the jungle. Like, these guys are gonna get really strong, but they're, at the end of the day, they're very elusive. And like I said, primarily feeding on snails. So they spend a lot of time in the water and a lot of time just foraging around. So yeah, that's the Cayman lizard. Like I said, guys, he's chilling in the water, doesn't like to get held. Versus a species like the rock iguana who wants to get held, and my Asian water monitor who wants to get held. These guys are very much like display only kind of animals for the most part. You can get them tamed, but not many are willing to, especially at that size. Take a look in the turtle pond, like all these guys. Are you guys ready to eat? All the turtles are ready to eat, they know what that is. So here is our yellow belly slider here. And our painted turtle Franklin is here, and our African side neck. So we have 2 African side necks in here. They're gonna eat just pellets today. This is a new food. I usually use the Missouri turtle food, but I don't know. I like all of Arcadia's products, so I'm gonna try this Arcadia food, and we'll see if the turtles like it too. But something new for them. Oh, these pellets sink. We'll put that there. And I'll mix in the food that they already know. They like, well, from what I found, they like the floating pellets. So, the Missouri, I'll put a couple pieces of Missouri in there too. But take a look at the... So this is a turtle pond that I built like 5 or 6 months ago, just for their winter enclosure. They typically go out in the summertime. They spend the whole summer outside, but like I said, we're waiting for a storm, a cold front here. So personally, they could stay outside, but I like to bring all my turtles in just so I can keep a close eye on them and make sure that they're all good. But yeah, just pellets for the turtles. Other than that, I feed them, you know, shrimp. Sometimes they'll have the clams that the Cayman doesn't eat. They'll eat some greens sometimes, but they're not big fans of like the greens. Some people say their turtles love greens, but mine don't at all. But what everybody's been waiting for, we're feeding some of the snakes. These are gonna be the more exciting feedings versus all the iguanas and stuff and everything like that that's gonna eat all the greens. But we can start with our southern white-lipped python from New Guinea. This is one of my favorite species. This is a male. I don't think he has a name. We have only a few animals here that still don't have names just because we haven't really got to find out their personality yet. Looks like he has a shed in here, but this species is typically defensive by nature. But before I feed him, it's a very beautiful species of python. Though they are very willing to bite, especially when they feel threatened. So this guy Though he's a very beautiful species, I have to be careful because these teeth are still no joke. But I mean, look at the iridescence. He just went through a nice shed, so he's beautiful. Looks like I may have to soak him a little bit because he still has a little bit of shed, but let's get this guy in his enclosure. I know he'll be ready to eat. I've never seen him turn down a meal ever since I've had him. I have small rats for him. And look at him up there. He's in ambush mode. Look at that strike. Holy. That's a strong snake. These guys are super, variable. They can live down in the forest floor. They can live up in the canopy. And they're gonna get big, probably about 6 feet. This is one of my favorite species of pythons. Definitely not as big as any like Morelia, like an olive python, but these guys still get some width on them. And as soon as you can get past the defensiveness, I mean, they're definitely fun to work with, especially compared to one of the smaller species of snake like a ball python. Let's do a walk by shot on the Lewisite hybrid iguana eating over there. He doesn't really like us seeing him eat, so when we can catch him, it's pretty cool. But it's time for my favorite animal to feed, because you guys will see exactly why Zilla's my favorite animal to eat, to feed, because he goes crazy as soon as he sees his food. I want to step back, make some room. This is This is our black dragon Asian water monitor, Zilla. Making him work for his food a little bit. Come on, don't get lazy. Good job, buddy. Take a look at that guy. He's gonna take that back into his enclosure to eat. And this is a Asian species of monitor, the second largest in the world. And this color form is a jet black called melanism. So he's a melanistic Asian water monitor, or most people call it black dragon Asian water monitor. Let me catch him before he goes under. This guy went. Let's see where he goes and takes it. I gotta run him back to his enclosure, because if not, he's gonna go hide from me. Here he goes. Come on. Come on. So athletic. Like I was saying, a second largest lizard species in the world besides the Komodo dragon. So this guy's he can get upwards of 150 pounds. Most of the time they get around 80 pounds, but these guys are massive and definitely not an animal you want to play with. They're gonna eat anything, birds, snakes, other lizards. I mean, just a species that is undeniably one of the kings of the jungle. But they have competition, which is the king cobra, and other species of venomous snake and larger lizards are their competition out there. So they've got to be big, especially in Asia. Come on. I'm gonna make you work out, you know that. You gotta work for your food. You can't let this guy get fat and lazy, because in the wild, he will have to chase down his food. It won't be easy. He'll have to go catch everything. So I would be doing him a disservice if I just put his food up there and let him eat it. So see, he tries to be lazy. He tries to sneak attack his food because he knows I'm gonna make him work for it. You can have that. This was on your face, right? Are you full? Yeah, he might be full. You guys see, he's laying down on that hot tile. That tile's right under the heat, so it's gonna make it warmer. His hot spot is like, let me see. There we go. Yeah, his hot spot's running about like 100 degrees, 102 degrees at the basking spot. Usually like anywhere from like 100 to 110 is a good range for them. He doesn't want to eat anymore, so he'll sit up there, sit on the heat, and it'll help him, digest that food so he can process it and poop it out, and I'll have to clean it up in there. Everything that's gonna eat rats, I mean, we have the Argentine black and white tegu, but she's in brumation, so she doesn't eat. At this time of the year, we give her like 2 months or minimal food, minimal heat, minimal light, and she's just sleeping. They'll do this naturally in the wild. It's good for their reproductive system. It's good for her growth, and mostly females are gonna brumate throughout the colder snaps of the season. So we're letting her have a brumation now that she started on her own. Let's go upstairs and feed some of the ball pythons and boa constrictors, and we also have another snake up there who's gonna eat all of these chicks. All right, a couple months ago, I got some young juvenile boa constrictors. This is a hypo boa constrictor. He did make a little bit of a mess in his enclosure. I'll switch out his paper towel, but I'm gonna feed him today. This guy, I've been trying to get them used to being hand tame and not, trying to snap back and bite all the time, but it looks like they're kind of getting used to it a little bit. He's usually like opening his mouth and gaping at me, but he's calmed down a little bit in the past couple months, but it's time for him to eat. It's been a couple of weeks since his last meal. Let's see, sit him there while I clean out his enclosure. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, look at the colors on this guy. This is a hypo boa constrictor, so these super high reds and oranges on him they look really good, especially in the light. It looks like this guy just went through a shed too. So if he'd let go of me, then I can feed him. He spilled his water already, so. There he goes. So we'll leave him like that to finish because he wasn't very excited to eat that food. So we'll give him a few minutes and just make sure he actually takes it down and doesn't let go. This is his clutch mate, his sibling. It's another male hypo. This one is not much nicer at all. So we're gonna clean this one out too and then feed them. See, like now you guys can tell the difference. This is a boa constrictor who is more willing to bite, definitely trying to scare me away. As you guys can hear, this little guy is much less nice, so he needs a lot more work than the other one. Definitely more willing to bite and strike. This is the one that when I first got them bit me right away, so I knew he was going to be a handful. But yeah, time to clean out his enclosure and feed him again. Like I said, guys, I gotta handle that because I'm gonna have another version of, as you guys know, I have Karma, the big boa constrictor, and she's hard to work with, so we don't need another version of that. One is enough for me, so we gotta handle his aggressive and defensiveness now. This little guy does not like to get touched at all. But I'll put him back and feed him a rat as well. I'm gonna leave the food in there. Just give him a couple minutes to kind of settle in and see if he'll figure it out. I'll leave him right here and I'll check back on him. But in the meantime, here's some snakes that I know will eat. Some snakes that are due to eat. Some of our smaller ball pythons that we're trying to get bigger for, the next couple seasons where they'll be breeding for us. But we've got, this is a banana pastel calico ball python. It's getting these little ones up to size. Yeah, they're always ready for a meal. So that is a female banana Pastel calico gonna take down that small rat there. Let's see, another one of our young snakes that we want to work on, putting some size on here, is our VPI exanthic female ball python. Definitely not the smartest species of snake that we have here, but they definitely like to eat. And they definitely produce some cool colors. We'll let her have that and move on. This is a snake that doesn't really need food, but definitely can and will eat. We're ready to breed him next year, so definitely want to put as much food as we can into him before the next season. That is a pied ball python. So as you guys can see, this pied patterning is like the separation of white and pattern, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. I'll show you another pied that looks completely different. This female pied, she's actually in shed right now, but I just want to show you guys. She needs a little bit of a soak, but we're gonna show you, like, there's less pattern on this one, and she's a little bit darker. So you guys can see, pied is just the absence of pattern on part of the skin. So let me get her soaked so she can have a better shed. But I've got one more mouse here for one of our smaller snakes. Here's a snake that can eat. This is just a normal het desert ghost female. I'm gonna eat our last mouse for the day. Well, as you guys can see, they have there's no second thought when they come out. They smell food and they just come for whatever it is. So I take a lot of ball python bites because they're just so, naturally food motivated. Especially here in a smaller space where they know that food is coming. All right, last but not least, we've got a couple of our bigger snakes here, starting with our bull snake, who she's gonna eat the rest of these chicks that the black dragon didn't eat. This is my garbage disposal. She will eat any and everything that I feed her. If you guys can hear that tail rattle, in the wild that's gonna hit against leaves and mimic a rattlesnake, so other snakes know to stay away. That's definitely one of their defense mechanisms. I've got 3 chicks for her. I'm gonna let her finish that one, then we'll come back and revisit. But one of the next snakes I want to feed, one of these jumbo rats to, is going to be our South American boa constrictor. Come on. It's a big rat for a big snake. Super strong South American species of boa constrictor. As you guys know, they're called constrictors because they're gonna grab that prey and coil it up and squeeze it if it's a live prey. But these are all frozen thawed. But these guys are gonna squeeze until they don't feel the pulse anymore, and then they'll start working with those strong jaws. And last but not least, this is the infamous Nicaraguan boa, Karma. She is not nice at all. I mean, she's gonna take this food whether she wants to or not, because she's gonna strike at anything that comes in her way. But this is one of our retired male breeder rats who passed away. But he's huge, but so is she. So she's gonna go to town on this guy right here. And she has absolutely no problem eating. She's never missed a meal, I don't think. We'll definitely shake it around so it seems live, but those are our big snakes. And in the time that we fed those 2 constrictors, the bull snake's already done with the chick and ready for a second, so. This guy does not joke around at all when it comes to food. And just look how fast. not a constrictor at all. These colubrids will start eating right away. I mean, that's all of our bigger snakes. This is the snake room. This is where we house, you know, all of our ball pythons, our boas for now before they get moved out to their front opening enclosures. They just need a different size enclosure, so those are custom built. They're like 6 feet. So once we can get everything situated, more organized down there, the 6 foot enclosures will come, and they'll have, you know, a visual enclosure where we can view them from the outside. But for now, this is our setup. Everybody's doing well. Everybody's thriving in here. And the last animal that needs to eat is our California king snake, and we have 5 pinky mice for him. He's very small. He doesn't like mice. He'll only eat the pinky. So he's growing really slow. That's all I can do. Let's go feed the king snake. This is our California king snake enclosure. So you guys can see he's under there. And he will only eat pinky mice. So he eats like 6 or 7 of these every couple of days. Come on. You gotta take it from me if you want it. Come on. Here. Now you can put it down. There he goes, eating his very small meal. Knocking the chips into his water. But since he eats so many, I can always stand there and wait for him to eat each one. But I let him play like a little bit of a hide and seek game. So I kind of just sit him around the enclosure. And every time I come back, and he never fails to have found them all and sniffed them out, explored his enclosure, and found his pinky. So I'll feed him this one. He's still working on that one that he has right now. And I have another one ready for him. Come on. There you go. But yeah, so I fed him 2 off the tongues. He also has a 3rd one here and a 4th one back there. So I guess we'll see if he decides to eat all his food. But the last animal that we have here that needs to eat are the frogs. So let's go into the frog room and feed them. All right, the last of my reptiles I have to eat today, well, not reptiles, these are amphibians. These are my poison dart frogs. I have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and like 10 babies in there from my Dendrobates tinctorius pair. But they eat fruit flies multiple times a week. I just had to order new flies for the first time in a while because my cultures, you know, unfortunately cultures run into mites after a while. So all of my cultures got mites, so I had to kind of start fresh, get a whole new inventory of flies, which is good. It's okay to get new bloodlines because I am producing these here. So new bloodlines into the collection is always good. It makes the flies last longer. They're stronger. They get larger, which is all good at the end of the day for my frogs. Alright, so as you guys just saw, I just ruined a perfectly good cup of flies. Dropped them all on the floor. And now all the spiders are coming out to eat the flies. So there's spiders on the floor now. And I have to try to get more flies for these frogs to eat. They're coming over to eat, so The rest of the flies are gonna go to this guy here. This is our green terribilis poison dart frog. He is solo in here. His partner unfortunately passed away, did not make it. She was very young, but she didn't make it. But he's still beautiful. We're looking for a partner for him. But yeah, he's in very good shape. He's gonna definitely eat all those flies that we have here. In the meantime, we also fed our African spurred tortoise. He has a piece of cactus here. He's back here in his indoor enclosure for the summer, but this is the African sulcata, African spurred tortoise. It's actually the third largest species of tortoise in the world, but this is just a young boy, and that is Bowser. He's gonna be massive one day, but this is his indoor temp enclosure for the next couple months until it's warm outside. Looks like he's going to eat now. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's a full tour. Besides our bugs, we have our, give you guys a brief tour. This is our Madagascar hissing cockroaches. They have their food here. It's just like an orange peel puree. In the name, they're from Madagascar, so they're gonna eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. This is a mash that they like to eat. They actually have a couple babies in there too, but bigger enclosure update coming for them soon. But yeah, I mean, that's all the animals. So let me know what else you guys want to see on this channel. A lot of things are going to be changing. A lot of things are going to be moving, getting upgraded in the summertime. We also have animals, maybe new animals coming, but definitely a lot more traveling coming up in the near future. Let me know if you guys enjoyed today's video. See you guys next time. Peace.